Kia ora, good evening. Labor has re-elected Chris Hipkins as its leader, staving off the political Hunger Games, at least for now.
But in the face of an electoral drubbing, the party is making changes. It's got a new deputy, and Hipkins has reopened the capital gains tax can of worms, saying it could be back on the table. Here's political editor Jenna Lynch.
It's like the skies could read the room, gloomy and grey, matching the mood of the glum Labor lot as they trudged in to begin fossicking through the wreckage of electoral annihilation.
There's plenty of material for post-mortems on the election campaign.
Plenty to look back on, but they must try and move forward. First step, confirm the leader.
Chris Hipkins has my support. Are you team Chris Hipkins?
Oh, I'm not talking about that.
You're not expecting there to be any challenges today?
Look, we're about to have a meeting, but no, Chris is our leader, of course he is.
I absolutely think he's a great guy.
Some better than others at keeping aspirations in check.
Are you ruling yourself out of being the leader of the Labor Party?
I just told you I'm back in Chippy.
Are you wanting to crack on possibly as the new leader?
Oh, hell no. Why not? No, it's just not me.
Would you like to be leader one day?
I'm going to go get a coffee.
There wasn't a no.
Ultimately,
Kia ora, everybody. I'm back.
there was no one else.
It's an endorsement vote, so there was only one candidate. That was me.
Calvin Davis, who's grown himself an opposition beard,
I thought I'd go for the Sean Connery look.
calling time on his deputyship.
I became a grandfather in the last 2 weeks, so, you know,
yeah, it looks like
other thing.
Making way for Carmel Sepuloni, the team who were thrown the reins of government and let them slip. They don't think it was their fault.
Many of the seeds of our defeat were sown well before we actually became the leadership team.
The future can't look anywhere near as grim as their recent past, but casting forward to the next election, a tough task.
Do you think he'll be leading you into the 2026 election?
That's crystal ball gazing, and I'm not going to speculate on it.
Nobody knows what's going to be happening in 2026. He may not even be here.
Look, that's a long way away. Chippy has my full support.
And into being the Prime Minister in 2026, absolutely.
If he wants to do that, he's got my backing 100%.
Are you absolutely confident that you will be the leader in 2026?
Between now and then, a complete overhaul of their policy platform. Previously scotched policies like a wealth or capital gains tax back up for discussion.
But I have also been clear, with the caucus, we lost, so therefore we start again, and that means that everything comes back onto the table, and that includes a discussion around tax.
The promise now is to do the best job an opposition can do.
We are looking forward to the next 3 years in Parliament. We've got a big job to do as the opposition in holding the government, once it has been formed, to account.
Willie Jackson warning of a war if ACT gets its referendum on the treaty.
I don't want civil unrest in our country. I'm just giving it a warning. I work amongst our people. I'm amongst people who will go to war for this.
We're asking for rational debate and discussion. When people threaten war as the alternative to that, they are not being a good actor investing in the future of our country.
First things first, there still needs to be a government to fight.
Well, to that point, Jenna, the big question, how are those coalition negotiations coming along?
From what I can gather, National seems to have been spending all of its energy on negotiating with New Zealand First over the last couple of days, not having any meetings with ACT. But Winston Peters threw a bit of a spanner in the works today, gave an interview to NBR in which he said that we might have a government in a couple of weeks. He also threw some potshots in that interview at National and ACT for negotiating as if they didn't need him before the specials came in, which doesn't quite ring true given we know David Seymour texted him before those specials came in. And hold the phone, Winston Peters said there is still a possibility that the three can't reach an agreement and he'd walk away.
Well, we walk into negotiations on the basis that, you know, you might lose. You might not go there in the end. You go there with the right purpose. But if you want to be true to yourself and there's people that voted for you, you've got to have that view as well. That this may not happen.
There are a couple of pseudo-deadlines approaching. One of them is the APEC summit next week. Christopher Luxon would need to fly out on Wednesday and be sworn in before then for that. But there's also a constitutional quirk coming up this Sunday. All of the ministerial warrants expire 28 days after an election. So if they can't get it together before then, the current government, the Prime Minister Chris Hipkins, would need to be re-sworn in to continue on as a caretaker government. Now, Christopher Luxon told the Electoral Commission it should have been working 24/7 to get the votes counted. One wonders if he is holding himself to the same standard.
That's right, a lot more to come. Thanks very much for the update. That's our political editor, Jenna Lynch.